What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so former NBA player BJ Armstrong, beloved former Chicago Bull, has come out and talked about how today's NBA just is not exciting to watch at all. Okay? At least not to most of us. And that is being reflected in the diminishing NBA ratings. Okay? So NBA Central, the real NBA Central, posted on Twitter, slash X, Twitter, a couple hours ago. BJ Armstrong's quote about how unwatchable the game has become. BJ Armstrong says that players in today's NBA lack creativity because all they want to do is shoot threes, hunt fouls, and only take layups. He said, quote, "When I go watch the game, there's no more creativity. There's no more imagination. It's just that we have basically robots running up and down the court. You run to the 3-point line. I run to the 3-point line. First, I try to get a layup. If I can't get a layup, I try to get fouled." And that's pretty much what we see. That's pretty much what we see, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody runs to the 3-point line. I mean, it got to the point. I knew basketball was cooked a couple of years ago when I started noticing that a team would have a 3-on-1 or maybe even a 4-on-1 fast break. That's a certain bucket, right? And instead of at least one guy cutting to the bucket, they run to the 3-point line, and then they miss. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Where's the basketball IQ? But this is how these guys are trained today. This is how they're trained to play the game. And he's not lying about the foul hunting thing. Oh my Lord. It's not even exciting to watch. And everything is geared for the offensive player. I mean, this stuff started right around the time LeBron Ramon James got into the league, a couple of years afterwards. Because I've always made this point. The first 2 years of his career before they completely got rid of hand checking, like at the time when he got in the league, you technically couldn't hand check anymore with your hands. They got rid of that in the mid-90s. Even though they actually implemented that change in 1978, I believe it was, 78, 79. They didn't actually really enforce it until the mid-90s. But even then, for another decade, they still allowed physicality. You just couldn't use your hands, but you could use your elbows. You could use, your body in some form of fashion. But then they got rid of hand checking completely. And then, about 5 years ago, they implemented this stupid ass freedom of movement rule where basically you can't stop the offensive player from gathering momentum. You got to just sort of, as best you can, stay in front of the player as best you can and without impeding his progress, guard him, which means that you really can't stop a guy. If he has great offensive skill, you can't stop him. Then you got these clowns that run around social media talk about how these guys are more skilled today. Of course they look more skilled because they're allowed to do so much more. Could you imagine how great Pete Maravich would be playing today if he was allowed to do all the things these guys are able to do? Never mind the fact these guys are allowed to attempt 13 3-point attempts per night like LaMelo Ball is. I can only imagine if Glenn Rice or Reggie Miller got that many attempts or could take that many threes. These guys get to do all types of things with the basketball, which would have been called travels or carries years ago. years, not even that long ago. Some of the things they do have been called traveling and carries, and these guys are always foul hunting. Things that would be considered offensive fouls years ago are not called. It's just not exciting for me to watch, particularly somebody like me who loves seeing guys fight in the trenches. I can't stand watching. I hate watching the game. I don't enjoy watching basketball. I'm a guy that grew up watching, and I know most people love Michael Jordan, and I like them too, but I tend to like the front court guys. I was a fan of, guys like Patrick Ewing and Shaq and David Robinson. Even though I know it sounds like I'm not a fan of Shaq, but I was. David Robinson, Moses Malone, Wilt Chamberlain, as far as legendary archive type guys, Dennis Rodman is one of my favorite players. I love watching defense guys, battling out, boxing out, trying to get rebounds. The battle for the rebound as far as a great offensive rebounder. It takes a talent. It takes a lot of talent and effort to get offensive rebounds. That's why when I see these guys get these triple doubles where 10 or 11 rebounds, right, and 9 or 10 of them are defensive rebounds, that shit don't impress me. What impresses me is, say, Moses Malone getting 20 rebounds and 9 or 10 of them are offensive rebounds. That impresses me. That impresses the hell out of me. Dennis Rodman averaging 18, 19 rebounds and 6 or 7 of them offensive rebounds. That's impressive to me. But some guys just stand around not playing defense and waiting for to get in a position to gather some miss for a defensive board. Come on, man. These guys are always baiting and trying to get fouls. It's not pleasant to watch, man. Then you couple that with all the stuff I just said. Then these guys, supposedly bigger, faster, and stronger, but they're always hurt. And as I said before, it's always the guys that make the most money that miss the most games. But then these guys always want to be included in these all-time great lists. It's horrible to watch. And they keep making these changes. Down here, they're going to make a change in the All-Star game. Now it's going to be some, what is it? What is it? 4-on-4 tournament or something? Who wants to watch that? So I'm not watching the damn thing, man. At this point, I might only watch the 3-point contest. And even that's starting to become dumb. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, Adam Silver's ruined the goddamn game, man. The NBA's become completely unwatchable, and they don't get it. They keep thinking all these gimmicks are going to work. It's not about these gimmicks, man. It's the game, period. It's the game. It's the way it's played, and it's the effort these players put out there. And the perception that these guys are a bunch of spoiled, rich, pampered assholes. Everybody wants a goddamn trophy because they're all narcissistic. Everybody wants a trophy and a statue for doing nothing. But the minute you criticize them, here come their agent calling BSPN. Here come their agent calling TNT. Here come their agent calling fake sports. Fuck these guys.